Elsa Bloodstone, Marvel Rivals' 47th character and newest DPS is finally here. And what I have in store for you today is the ultimate master guide or class of understanding just how to play this character. Starting from her more basic kit and abilities to more advanced tips and tricks, I have everything you need in this one spot. And if you like this video and want to see more, make sure to hit that like button and of course subscribe to the channel if you're new and find yourself coming back on the regular. It's one of the best ways of helping me out, so might as well. But that's enough about that. I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, as this is a guide video, we do have to talk about the basic abilities, and that's starting off with her primary fire. It's kind of two abilities in one. You have the double barrel blaster and the monster piercer. For the double barrel blaster, you fire your shotgun forward, and the monster piercer, you unleash your elephant gun, and the bullets pierce enemies and deal a high amount of damage. It's a rather straightforward ability that pretty much anybody can understand how it works. Now we move on to the actual abilities of this character, and that's her secondary fire, which is Living Bullet. Now, firing this projectile, it splits on impact, marking enemies with a debuff. When she procs that mark, she gains a bonus movement speed, which is huge for duels and chase potential. It's super simple on paper, but very effective in practice. Following that, we come to her shift, her movement ability, which is Helix Advance, which is a dash. Now, this is easily her most important ability, and honestly, one of the strongest movement tools in the entire game. Now, Elsa dashes in any horizontal direction. There is no vertical movement here, but every time she dashes, she gains a bonus health immediately. On top of that, she gets a one empowered piercing shot that goes through enemies and deals a serious amount of damage. Now, this is the big and key thing, is that normally this ability has an 8-second cooldown, but every time Elsa gets a kill, the cooldown reduces. 1 stack is 6 seconds, 2 stacks 4 seconds, 3 stacks 2 seconds. It's essentially a 2-second dash. It gives mobility, burst damage, bonus health, and that's her survivability and her damage rolled into one button, and it's honestly completely insane. Moving on to the next ability, her E is Ruthless Pursuit. And now this is a two-part ability. The first activation, Elsa dashes to a target and kicks them airborne. The second activation is she repositions them backward and disengaging safely. And here's the key point. Both activations grant her an empowered shot. That means a full burst combo could look like a dash, shot, E forward, shot, E back, shot. That's 3 high damage shots in a split second, and it absolutely deletes people. And I'll have the actual combos in the combo section of the video a little bit later on. Moving on, we come to her F or other ability, Trap Snare. This one's a bit different from the rest of her kit. Elsa deploys a invisible trap containing her monster companion. The trap can be destroyed while deploying, but once it turns invisible, it becomes completely invulnerable. Similar to Penny's mines inside of her web, but when an enemy triggers it, spectral hands grab them, the hands can be shot about 50 HP, and Elsa can reactivate the ability to dash instantly to the trapped target. It's strong for setup and picks, but honestly, this is the least important part of her kit. It's useful for sure, but she doesn't ever really need it to completely dominate or take over a lobby. Then we come to her ultimate, which is honestly pretty insane. It's Monster Recall, and this ult, like I said, is ridiculous. Elsa sends out her monster, which grabs enemies, drags them until it hits a wall, and stuns them the entire duration. Now, you are free to shoot them while this happens, and when the monster finally reaches Elsa, it chomps the target for bonus damage. This might be the longest stun in the entire game, and it has insane utility. It hard counters invisibility, it pulls enemies out of defensive setups, and it can literally throw people off the map. Anywhere with pits also becomes an instant win condition and can completely turn the fight in a matter of seconds. Now, I do want to kind of talk about this, is that the weapon in comparison section. Now, her weapon feels pretty similar to Psylocke. It's a 2-round burst, strong mid-range pressure, and solid headshot damage. The only real difference is that Elsa does more damage, has more survivability, and way better cooldown uptime. To me, she's kind of a mix of Psylocke plus Winter Soldier mixed into one, which honestly, this might be one of the stronger characters in this game that I've seen on release. So hopefully by the time this character is fully out, these numbers of her damage has completely changed. And that, to me, raises the question is if this character is power crept. You have to think about Elsa has a 275 HP base, but every dash grants her bonus health. With a 2-second dash cooldown, she effectively plays like a 350 HP hero. That's almost tank level durability on a high burst DPS with a smaller hitbox. She's harder to hit kill than Deadpool, hits harder than Psylocke, and has better uptime than both. Honestly, Elsa feels like a Psylocke essentially on crack. But you can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, before we fully dive into her combos, I really want to talk about her playstyle. Now, her playstyle really and highly mimics that of a Psylocke, where your whole goal is to be a super aggressive flanker, but you can also mix in a frontline pressure just because the amount of overshield this character grants you. Again, she is more of the Psylocke style approach, but tankier and more explosive. Your whole core identity is to take a lot of isolated tools and abuse those 2-second dash cooldown resets or whatever it may be called. And of course, chain burst combos. Because you have to remember, once Elsa gets a elimination, her dash cooldown drops dramatically at max stack, so you're operating on a 2-second mobility plus shield cycle, meaning you're constantly repositioning, you're constantly refreshing bonus HP, and you're extremely hard to punish. And from my gameplay and testing, she thrives in chaotic fights, especially when enemy backlines are split, supports are exposed, and cooldowns are burned. Now, in terms of her key strengths as a flanker, she is extremely fast with burst windows, she has self-shielding, what makes her duel durable, can disengage instantly after pressure, and her ultimate is pretty insane. The only real weaknesses I found with this character is that if she whiffs her combo, she's vulnerable for a short window. Although that window isn't necessarily massive, there is a small window, and then her vertical mobility is limited compared to other dive or flanking duelists. So I guess that is something to keep in mind. But even then, it just seems like this character literally has everything in her toolkit at her disposal that the game has to offer, so it's going to be very hard dealing with her. Now, the other way you could play this character a little bit is frontline pressure, and honestly, it is a way to play her, but it might not be the most optimal. Instead of hard flanking, you can play her just off of your tank, acting as a burst follow-up DPS, kind of like Winter Soldier, or a counter-engage assassin, and a zone controller with traps. Now, it might not necessarily be one of the more optimal ways of playing this character in comparison to playing like Psylocke, but I think it is a way that you can play this character if need be. If you're struggling with a dive duelist or whatever the case may be, maybe your Winter Soldier is getting overwhelmed with all the pressure he's receiving, I think playing this off of the tank is not a bad idea. It can definitely be helpful, but your main priority should be looking to play off angles, flanking with this character, doing the Psylocke playstyle mainly. Now, moving on to combos. Now, there's probably a lot of combos out there that have yet to be discovered, but honestly, the most basic and probably best one to understand is a clean combo, which is Living Bullet, your right click on mouse and keyboard, into your dash, into a shot, into your E forward to shoot, and then E back. So essentially, right click, shift, E, E. And between the two E's, you shoot, and that's a max damage combo. Basically, most heroes die in 1 to 2-ish seconds, even tankier ones like Mr. Fantastic take massive amount of damage. If you add it to her ultimate, and she can freely unload damage on stunned targets with 0 counterplay. But anyways, that was a quick little masterclass on the new hero, Elsa Bloodstone. If you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, do me a favor, hit that like button, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It's one of the best ways of helping me out. But regardless, I hope you have a safe and great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.